Good morning, everybody in the support tribe. I'm so excited this morning that we have a wonderful guest with us, the lovely Fiona. So for people who've maybe not seen a Masterclass Mini in a little while, this is an opportunity where we spend a little bit of time getting to know one of our wonderful business owners and sharing their experiences and just finding out a little about what your business is and how it works. So Fiona owns a wonderful dance school down in Worthing and called Grace Dance.
Yes.
And we want to explore with you this morning basically how it started, the trials and tribulations of running a business, and just find out more. So I'm going to hand over to the wonderful EntrePLANeurs who can kick us off with the first question.
Brilliant. And just remembering that it's a Masterclass Mini, so it's a little bit fast and furious. So punchy answers coming out. So, Fiona, question number 1, said Antoinette, busily scrolling up her page. Tell us how you started your dance school and why.
Okay, so I've been teaching dance for how long have I been teaching dance for like 9 years or something like that for other people. The normal thing in kind of after school part-time dance school world is you generally work for 2 or 3, sometimes 4 or 5 at one time, dance schools in an area. You're kind of freelance, and I've been working for other schools for a while, for 2 main ones that were kind of my main schools, and then odd other ones as well here and there. And we moved area a little bit, and I was still going back and forth. But I just noticed after a while, people were basically saying to me, once I got to know people like in my local church, they were saying to me, could you start something around here? And I'd always said you have to be a mug to run a dance school. I've got very good friends who I worked for a long time, and I just was like, how do you do this job? It sounds like a lovely, easy thing, but it's actually an incredibly unique business to run. You have 2 customers. You've got the children and the parents, and it's just a very unusual. Children's activity providers are quite a unique style of business. And there's various challenges with it. So I always thought you had to be a bit of a mug, and always said I wouldn't do it. And I was quite happy to perhaps become a dance examiner and do other things. But people kept bugging me. And I think it was because we are blessed actually where we live with amazing dance schools. They're all they go to Dance World Cup and they do all these competitions, festivals. They're called festivals, but they're competitions. And they're quite full on. And I think what some of the people that I was chatting to were saying was they wanted something that's a bit more straightforward and a bit more recreational. So, but they still wanted to know that they were getting, good, safe training, trustworthy teachers, etc., etc. So after a while, I was like, maybe I do try something. And then I just happened to walk past, and literally a few minutes walk from my house, and I've been living here for like 5 years. I happened to walk past this community centre that was being done up, and they were doing up a cafe area, and they had this huge room with sprung flooring and in other rooms as well. And I was like, so I could have like multiple things going on, and parents could sit in the cafe area. This is the dream for every dance school. So I literally saw a gap in the market, and it's quite unusual actually. Most dance teachers who start, not everyone, but most dance teachers who start a dance school, they've kind of inherited it, or they've worked for a dance school for a while and then taken it over, but it's come from the teaching. Whereas I literally did see a gap in the market, and just thought, do you know what, I can do something a slightly different offering locally. And I did say to my husband at the time, this could become a bit of a monster. So, you're up for that. He was like, yeah, okay. And it's a good job I asked him that, because it has.
But amazing to have that on your doorstep as well. There is something about kind of timing and everything coming together. So, wow, to have that opportunity and venue there.
I literally had an overnight, Jerry Maguire, the mission statement overnight. I literally had that kind of overnight thing where I was like, I can see this vision. I can see it. And it was one of those.
How inspiring. Yeah, it's brilliant.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, very wonderful. So we want to ask you the next question, which is tell us about your online business and how it connects to your core business. So obviously we've heard about the origin of it. How has things changed?
Okay, so about 2.5 years ago, during COVID, I was lucky enough to have a really fantastic dance business coach. There's actually quite a few of those around now for dance school owners across the world. There's more growing in the UK. We're quite lucky. They're all fantastic. I was lucky to have a really great one who really encouraged us all to think about how we could diversify, obviously with COVID. And thinking about, we don't really know how the world's going to change permanently, and it was incredibly hard to run a dance school during COVID, but that's a whole other story. We won't go down that today. So I was thinking about how I could diversify, and really she encouraged us very positively to think about what we can contribute to the dance industry, to the dance school world, to the dance industry more generally. What can we particularly contribute ourselves? And my own kind of story was that I hadn't really had much training. Well, nobody really does, to be honest, have much training in teaching very little ones, so the preschool age group, and that is the foundation of pretty much every dance school. Very few dance schools will not be working from the ground up, and getting them in at preschool age. That's where you get all the interest, and then of course naturally as they get older they drop off as they start doing gym or football or rugby nowadays, or this, that, and the other, so you get lots of them in when they're little, and then hopefully you've then got enough to kind of keep classes going as they get older. So, but that is very much like the basis of most dance schools. However, there isn't actually that much training out there for specifically teaching preschool age. And my own story was that I was terrified of teaching that age group when I started. Didn't get a huge amount of input. I had some lovely mentors who helped me as much as they could, but there was no formal training. There were no real proper courses on actually how to plan a class and deliver a class for that age group. So I figured out that actually this was something I had got really good at over the years. It was one of those, my greatest struggle became my greatest strength, because I kind of had to work it out. And it really has become, the kind of thing that I can just go and do and enjoy doing. I don't really have to think about it too much. I just tweak my class plans every now and again. So I figured this was something I could do. And at the time was seeing a lot of, as you know, lots and lots of courses online about how to create online courses. And so I was going through all of that kind of rabbit hole. And I just thought this is what I can do. So I've been delivering courses online for dance teachers to teach preschool dance for the past kind of 2.5 years. And I've kind of rebranded it this year. It was called something else. And now we're called Teach Preschool Dance. And I basically help not just dance teachers with teaching preschool dance, but also I help dance studio owners think about how they can make it a more kind of cohesive. Got a little echo.
Amazing. What we're really hearing is an agile businesswoman that sees opportunities, sees gaps, and then cracks on. So you're our kind of woman, Fiona. I'm going to jump the next question and get on to, because I think you've answered that, what made you take it online, but actually, why do you think business owners need to think about online courses or an online presence?
Online presence, so many reasons. Diversifying, definitely, because we don't know how the world's going to change. There could be another pandemic tomorrow. All those kind of things. But also, I think there's so many reasons. I think for me, though, the other reason was thinking about the future. So thinking for myself about, I don't necessarily into my 50s and 60s, and maybe I will in my 50s, but certainly not into my 60s, be still jumping about like a fairy and pretending to be a caterpillar. So I need to think about what I'm going to be doing then. I might still be running my school, I don't know, I might not, but I want to think about diversifying my skills as much as my income streams. So actually thinking about public speaking and putting together courses and digital skills. So it was partly about just kind of being open to my own development as much as anything. That's my kind of take on it anyway.
Amazing, thank you.
So definitely. So the next question is, what are the most common challenges in your business or the individuals you support?
Okay, should we talk about the dance school or the online? Should we talk about
your choice?
Okay. Okay, so I think we'll talk about the online probably. I think I think for dance school owners, I think it's direction, because what we do is actually quite unregulated. So there are like dance examination boards and dance societies that most of us are part of. We often follow like a syllabus that we can provide, but it doesn't always have a preschool one. There are various like franchises, preschool franchises and licenses you can buy. But a lot of people, this is what I've been chatting to a lot of people this summer about this, a lot of people don't really want to feel like they've taken an off the shelf kind of preschool syllabus for their kids, for their students. They want to create something that's authentic to them. But of course, as any business owner knows, having the time to put together a big project, and it is a big project to create your own curriculum, for one particular age group, having the time to do that, and also just knowing, oh, how do I start? What is it that I want to be creating? Like having the vision for it, knowing whether there's like right or wrong things. I always say, you know, with teaching preschool, there's not really a right or wrong approach as such, unless you're getting them dancing to the thong song, putting them in oversplits, you know, that would be wrong. But there isn't really right or wrong. So what I try and do is try and get them to think about about their demographic, and what people in the area really want. I think that's one of the hardest things for children's activity providers, is working out what their demographic wants, because you are going to get a mixture, of course, in any area. It's a lot of trial and error, you know, what time of day do people want, etc., etc. What kind, you know, do they want something a bit more educational? I think that's very much what a lot of my demographic want, or do they want to just be in pink tutus and being fairies, you know, which is fine. It's just not what I do. So I think it's that direction and being asked the right questions. As with so many business owners, this is why having coaches, etc., these kind of groups are so great, having the right questions asked so that they can actually have the confidence to create something, because otherwise they just don't start, and people kind of manage with what they've kind of always done or what they've kind of cobbled together, rather than having like okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to create and it's going to be coherent and consistent.
Thank you. Yeah, it does. It really does. And actually, there's a commonality, I think, that goes across every business there. It's about market research, knowing your market,
yes.
Pushing out stuff, but tailoring it to the needs of your, for dance teachers, your physical community, but then for other business owners, it could be your national, international, whatever your community is, whoever your defined customer is. So.
And actually, it's hard with parents because they don't always know what they want. They can't always articulate what they actually want. And sometimes what they say they want isn't what they actually do want. So it gets really complicated for children's activity providers. Yeah. Anyway.
We hear that. You're talking to two former PE teachers, so we've on a number of levels.
Having the flashbacks to me teaching dance to reception, and yeah.
Oh, amazing! Yes.
It feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah, lots of very little gruffaloes, all doing all sorts of different things. They were very cute. But again,
sometimes if you haven't come from the dance world, you can have a fresher approach to it, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, from my side of things, you know, I did I did dance all the way from me being 4 to 18. So I had a dance background-ish in a very limited kind of thing. So that's always been one of my strengths in my teaching. And that was, you know, one of my specialisms. But again, trying to do that for a GCSE class and transferring it down to little tiny ones, you know, how are we going to make this enjoyable for them and actually create something that is, you know, educational and enjoyable at the end for us and them. So yeah, it makes me all
literally to rock it across. Fiona, what would you say your business superpower is, your professional superpower?
Well, preparing for this, I thought, oh crumbs, I think it is spotting gaps, but I think it's kind of spotting gaps not just in the market, but it's the seeing things that perhaps other people. I'm actually really good at seeing problems, which isn't fantastic in many ways. I'm one of those people who can always see the problems that might come up, but that is kind of a superpower in a way, because I can kind of help prevent them before they happen, hopefully, and just kind of getting things done. I'm just very impatient, but that means I do want to get things done, and I'm like just 100 checklists and let's get it all done, everything with a due date. And I'm just very impatient. So I make things happen.
I think there's definitely a synergy.
Lindsay?
No, sorry, Antoinette, what were you saying?
I'd say we'd call it organised and purposeful.
Yes. exactly what we're saying. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that model at all, you know.
It might not, if you saw on my Trello boards, it might not look that organised, but it's all there. It's all there, which means it can all get done.
Absolutely. No, you are speaking our language without a doubt. So that brings us on to our surprise question. How quickly did that go? So the surprise question from our last guest, which was Beth Ann Truman, who runs a virtual assistants business. Her question was, can you share an inspiring person, book or podcast that will help other business owners?
Oh, I'm a podcast junkie, so that's really hard. There's too many podcasts to mention. But I think one book that I found really helpful that I read over COVID was by somebody, I think I've mentioned her to you before, Internet, called Natalie Ekdahl. And I can't remember how you spell it. I think it's ECKHDAL or something like that. But it's something about mindset. And of course, if you type in mindset, there's going to be loads of books, aren't there? It's
got a bright orange cover.
I can't remember if it's orange, but it might be.
We'll find it and we'll pop it in the comments.
It's a mindset book by Natalie Ekdahl, and I will find it and I will send you the details. But it really was very much about money mindset particularly, and lots of different women's stories, and just really that challenging thing about, you know, trying to push what your limiting beliefs. And I think that's something I've always known about. I think that was just a particularly helpful book to think about not limiting your beliefs and about what you can do. Yeah, no, well, we've touched on that before, haven't we, Antoinette, without a doubt, the mindset thing and how important that is for all of us as business owners. So yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Fiona, we have come to the end. It was fast and furious. You have shared wonderfully. Thank you for giving us your time. It's always really inspiring to see women kicking down doors, getting stuff done, but not only that, building fabulous businesses, which I know yours is. Lindsay, I don't know if I've told you, but I had the pleasure of being a volunteer at Fiona's dance show this year, and it's massive. It's massive.
Yeah.
It decks out an entire theatre in Worthing. There were hundreds of children, let alone parents, and Fiona's just serenely floating around with all these worker bees in the background, getting stuff done. I mean, the number of
practiced it being the swan paddling underneath. Well, what you do as a dancer, and so that's what I now do as a business.
Yeah, very impressive business owner. And if there's anyone in Worthing that's looking for a dance school, then Grace Dance is the place to go to. And Fiona's details, you can find her online all over the place, on all the socials. At Fiona Ramasani, you have been an absolute joy. Thank you.